Hello everyone, welcome to the Travel Coach, moving body, mind and spirit. My guest today is a business and mindset coach who stands for empowered women, helping them to shift and heal their beliefs so they can be their authentic selves and achieve their dream lives sooner. Her love for travel and new experiences drives all aspects of her life, starting with her business, so that she can create a lifestyle that supports her passion. Alyssa Williamson, welcome to the Travel Coach.
Thank you, Sonia. I'm excited. It's going to be fun.
I'm so happy to have you here. As always, I like to start my questions with asking you about your relationship with travel growing up. Can you share with us what are your memories of this phase of your life?
Sure. So my parents actually moved to the U.S. and New Zealand when I was little. So all of our big travel was back to New Zealand. Every couple of years, like that's what we did. We'd save up, and every couple of years we'd go back to New Zealand for 2 to 3 years. That was our big travel for most of my childhood to about high school. But what we did in between that was a lot of camping trips, a lot of weekend trips, or just day trips, car driving around the U.S. I grew up in California, so exploring different national parks and state parks, and just getting to experience other cultures. I think of New Zealand as my second home, even though we went every couple of years. It was like home. So when I finally ended up moving there for college, it was my second home, and it's amazing how even though it's an English-speaking country, there's still different culture and different foods and all these different things. And then as I went into high school, we started traveling more to Mexico and different places around the world, and getting to see that there are different lifestyles that we have now, and trying new foods and all.
Yeah, you see quite a lot. I hear you a bit far away, so it's like the microphone. Maybe I don't know if it's the connection.
It could be these other ones.
Yeah, maybe this is better. So you've seen different places around the world, what I understand, from New Zealand to Mexico. So you were traveling a lot when you were a kid and growing up.
Yeah. So childhood was, every couple of years to New Zealand. And then as we got a little bit older in high school, then we started traveling to other countries too. So it was definitely, I got a very global perspective growing up.
So as an adult, do you think that, when you were then an adult and you had your business and you start working, do you think that you were also traveling as much as you wish? You were traveling less? You were traveling more? How this thing evolved?
Oh, definitely. So my college present to myself was to go to Thailand. I was in New Zealand still, and so I had a couple friends who went to Thailand. So I got to see that. It was one of my dream places. So my dream places have been Tahiti, Thailand, Greece, and Egypt. And I've done Tahiti and Thailand so far. And Thailand was right after college. Tahiti was when I moved back from New Zealand to the US. I stopped at Tahiti on the way, and so I fit that in. And then I would say the beginning of my work career, I worked a lot, but I also made traveling a priority. So I would work and travel. So luckily I built my business and I was able to work from anywhere. So I'd go to like Cozumel, I went to India, places in Mexico, and the Bahamas. So it was integrating a lot of travel into work. I just didn't yet build the business that I could take the time off, but I was so appreciative that I could work from anywhere, and I could work, and then I go down to the beach in the afternoon, or go travel, explore in the afternoon. So it gave me that freedom. So I've always wanted to build my business around the ability to travel. Just got better at it now. Yeah, taking time off, not just working while you're traveling.
Yeah, it's important to have this freedom, and nowadays I suppose that more people can travel remotely. And when this pandemic has shown us, people who thought at the beginning could not travel remotely, now they've seen that actually they can travel remotely. So it's something that more people will start considering as well, traveling.
I'm so grateful. There's been a lot of bad that has come out of this, but one of the good things is that the ability and the flexibility, people now understand, oh, you can work from anywhere, oh, you can be traveling. And there's a lot more acceptance of virtual meetings than that. Which is giving.
Certainly. So today I wanted to focus on this travel story that actually changed things for you. It's been transformational. And everything started when you received a wedding invitation. Tell us about that. What happened there?
So one of my cousins in New Zealand had got an announcement that he and his bride were getting married in Austria. So she's originally from the Netherlands. My family's Dutch, and she's originally from the Netherlands, and had always dreamed of getting married in this town in Austria. And I was like, I haven't been to Europe I've only been to Europe once, and as a kid, and I was like, I haven't been to Europe. Like, this is my dream. I want to go. Like, it's my cousin wedding. We'll get to hang out with friends and family. And so the first thing I did is I didn't at the time feel like I could afford it. So I was like, okay, well, these are the dates. I'm just going to put some random dates in Google Flights, and I'm going to start tracking it. And the next day, I got a notification that the price had dropped like 60%. So I was like, that's my sign. I have to book it. I'll figure out a way to make it pay, but like the price just dropped 60%. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. So that's one of my tricks too, is when I want to go somewhere, I put it in Google Flights and just track the date and then see the prices fluctuate. And this has also been part of my journey, is learning to trust my intuition and being much more open to what it's giving me. And so I was like, okay, this is gonna happen. I'm gonna make this work. And so booked the flights, and I actually booked him for 2 weeks. My other family was doing 3 weeks, and I was like, you know what, I can't take that much time off business and that sort of thing. But once I actually got to Europe and once I arrived, it was just so eye-opening to see the history and the culture. And like living in the US all the time, our history is 300 years old. And then to go to Austria and go to the church where there's like 5 layers of church. The original is the original Roman, and then the next layer was where another church was built on top and another church. I loved Salzburg. That was like my favorite city. I could have spent weeks there just exploring.
Yeah.
And
so let me stop you there. So you said that you received this wedding invitation. You were thinking about going, not going. The financial was a challenge, a concern. Also, you were thinking about business, right? To being away for 2 weeks, how this would impact your business. Is there any other challenge that you can think on right now that you had before that maybe you were hesitating about taking the trip?
Yeah, so there was timing of business, having the funds. I was in a relationship and I was going and my boyfriend wasn't. And so it's sort of like, oh, well, okay, we're spending time apart. I'm going without him. I don't want to spend 3 weeks apart when maybe I should spend 2 weeks apart too. So there's a little bit of that as well.
Okay. So this is what made you help you to overcome these challenges? What were you thinking? So I suppose you put in the balance, right? Pros, cons, and then you arrived to this conclusion. How was this decision making in your head?
So part of it was, it just felt right. So a lot of my work and being a business owner has been to trust my intuition and it just felt so good. Like when I saw that price drop, I was like, you know what, I'm meant to go. This is something I'm meant to do. And then talking to my parents, of course, talking to my family in New Zealand who were coming. I'd missed one family wedding in Europe, and all the stories that came out of it, the way I felt when I missed that, I was like, I can't do that again. I have to come back. I have to, any wedding, no matter what, I'm going to find a way, make a way, and make it happen, because that's my priority. I spent too many years working and trying to make money and not on my lifestyle. And I'm like, travel is my priority. No matter what I do, if I get an opportunity to travel, that's what I'm going to focus on. I'm just going to find a way and make a way. Like, I'll save money if I have to. Maybe I'll make more money. Whatever it was. So it was the community, it was my family, and then just also knowing that that's my passion. And I really need to follow my passion and not put it off because of my fears.
Yeah, that's an important realization that, unfortunately, many people don't arrive to this conclusion and they just, oh well, look, maybe, they postpone, procrastinate, they focus on the priorities, the business. I cannot afford to do that. And just they talk themselves out of this. And then they miss these experiences. What you were saying also, when you are explaining that the fear of missing out, right? The experience is also a big, is important here in order to make the decision. So you arrive eventually to the conclusion that you needed to go, everything felt right, your intuition was telling you
Mhm.
go, so there you are, you arrived there. And the first thing you felt impressed was about comparing to the US, the history, the traditions, the beauty of the place, right?
Mhm. And like I know that, but experiencing it is something different. Be like,
Mm.
wow, I'm standing somewhere. This building is 1,000, 2,000 years old. Wow, like just the history, the enormity, and like people live their lives, and this is what it was like. And the food, I love. My favorite thing when I travel, like I'm a big saver, but when I travel, that's when I spend my money. Like I'll eat any food, I'll try anything that along the lines that I can. I'm like, I'm only here for a couple weeks. I gotta make the most of it.
Yeah, yeah, I totally understand that. It's something that yeah, cannot be explained, right? The taste of the food or how good it is. You have
Yeah,
to be there and eat it, and this cannot be. There is no substitute for that. You have to enjoy it yourself, and it's important what
and
you
it's
said as
living the
well.
experience.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's living the experience fully. Like if I'm in another country, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna eat some junk food a bunch of the days that I'm there. Like I'm usually really good, but I'm like, you know what? I'm here. I'm I don't know when I'll be back. I'm only here for a limited time. I'm gonna make the most of my experience and
Yeah,
like be fully present and be fully in this atmosphere.
absolutely. And you said here something very important as well is knowing what you are seeing, what you have in front of you, right? Knowing
Mhm,
the history behind. I don't know if you had a tour guide or maybe your family members were explaining or you were reading somewhere,
mhm.
but it's not the same just looking at some, I don't know, building or some rocks there and not knowing what it means and say, oh, yeah, it's nice. Or, but I'm hungry. That actually
Yeah.
understanding how old is that and you know, how many years of history you have in front of you and knowing the context of what you are witnessing with your eyes. This is also very
Mhm.
important.
Yeah, and it's just taking opportunities. Like I like to have a general plan when I travel, but also like, oh, that looks really interesting. If we've got a rental car, let's stop there and let's look at that. Or oh, well, we thought we were going to do this, but we're having a lot of fun here, so we're just going to stick to this now, and we'll find some other time. So being flexible while also having having enough. Like I like to have a room booked so that I know I have a place to stay at night. But I like having flexibility in my day and the activities. So that if something you find a small little alley and you start wandering around it, you find shops that you didn't know might be there. Like being open to the possibilities.
Yeah. Yeah. So what this trip, what was different about this trip? What this trip helped you to realize about yourself, about your life, your lifestyle? What happened there?
So I'd I'd let I'd lived in the Bay Area and I let like people call it the hustle culture now. I didn't call it that then, but just the rat race, the hustle culture, just to get so caught up. Like when you're in home at work, like you're just stuck in the grind. You're like, I've got all these deadlines, I got all these things I got to do. And the biggest thing about this was one, like I listened to my intuition, I took action even though I was afraid. And then two was I love my family. My family and I get along great. And while we were there, it was like a traveling family reunion around Europe. We met up in Munich, and then we met up in Filsmoose, and then we met up to Hallstatt, and then we went to the Netherlands. And so I was like, this is what life is about. I haven't traveled in 5 years because I've been so caught up. So there's a period of about 5 years where I didn't travel. There are multiple reasons. And I was like, this is why I live. Like, these are my experiences that make me feel alive. I get to be with family. I get to see experiences. And then it was also a family wedding. So I was like, this is what I want in my life. Like, I want this happily ever after. She had her dream wedding. Like, it was in this snowy village. We had horse-drawn carriages. And she was just so happy. And I was like, this is what I want in my life and my relationship too. I want family that's fun and hanging out. And I want to make the time for these special moments and experiences. So it was it was really a wake up call for me that I was like, I haven't been making time for travel. And this is what makes me feel alive. And this is why I'm passionate. So that's why I was getting burnt out because I was just work, work, work. And so it was it was sort of like a quarter life crisis, I guess, where I was like, oh, and I'm glad I learned it early enough. I was like, oh, like this used to be a priority and I forgot about it. So that's what happens too sometimes is you forget about your dreams, you don't experience it. So it was a reawakening, just
Yeah.
love and passion.
Yeah, we forget about it, right? So do you think you knew this before, but
Mm-hmm.
you needed to travel to actually, I don't know, it's like putting a mirror in front of you or something. Why do you think you need to travel and you need to actually experience it to remember? How
It,
would you explain that?
I think it's part of it is new experiences, this novelty. Like I could go do a day trip and take a new hike here in Oregon where I live now, and that would excite me too because new novelty. But traveling is, yeah, it's that freshness, especially in a different country. It's different culture. Like, we aren't the only ones that live. It broadens your perspective, I guess. It makes me feel more alive, being being able to live these new experiences, sit and relax. When you're on vacation, you act differently. Like my parents and I would just go to a bar and have lunch and sit and just watch the square because you have no agenda. You don't have a meeting you have to rush to. You're like, oh, this is a really cool bar. We're people watching. We're sitting by a fountain. Like, I think it just gives that more freedom to be present. And that's what I try and bring more into my life now since I realize that. But travel is just a time where you've made this time and space to do something different and you're not held back by your day-to-day routine, day-to-day expectations.
Yeah, totally agree.
So
So
that,
it helps you to be present because you are surrounded by new things that you are not
mm-hmm.
used to, right? In your daily life, you're going with the autopilot mode and you don't even pay
Yes.
attention to your surroundings because it's the same as usual. So there is nothing new there. And you're just in your mind and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And when you are traveling, everything is new. Everything is, catching your attention and keeps you in the present moment, even with food that you were mentioning before. Eating a
Mm-hmm.
new dish, you are more aware of the flavor and you are more aware of the texture because it's new. It's not what we are
Yeah.
used to. You are used to eat, I don't know, the same sandwich as usual, and you just not even,
Mm-hmm.
notice anything. It's just an automatic process. So I
Yeah.
totally agree with the present moment, and it's very important aspect of travel that help us to be aware and have these breakthrough moments, as you were mentioning, because we are here now. We
Mm-hmm.
are able
And
to
it
pay attention.
really broadens your world. Like you can tell the perspective of people who have traveled to other countries versus those who have never left their country or their hometown. Um, and you can really just see how it gives us more understanding, I guess, and compassion of the world when you've been somewhere else and
Yeah.
seen other people and seen other ways of living and knowing, oh, mine isn't the only way. Like here's something else, whether it's first world or third world.
It opens your mind. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
growth mind. Totally aware. So tell me, because yeah, we were saying that it's easier when you travel to keep in the present moment, but
Mhm.
sometimes it's unavoidable to, have this, oh my God, my life in my city, my life at home, how is the business doing? What is my partner doing? What is, thinking about all, how will you
Mhm.
managing this, challenge or the autopilot thing that going again to the things and the worries and actually come back to the present moment. How was this experience for you?
So, and I didn't actually mention this. I also, as I was coming up at the end of my 2 weeks, my family was like, okay, our next week we're going to be traveling through the Netherlands and visiting all like cousins, second cousins, and extended family again. They're like, we really think you should stay with us. We think it's going to be such a worthwhile trip. You're here already, just extend out your flight. And so I actually did. I added a third week to my trip, and I'm so grateful that I did. Yeah, it costs more. It would have been better to just do it in the first place. So that's my lesson learned: is just do what I thought I should do in the beginning. Um, and so overcoming those challenges, one, I told clients. So before my trip, I actually told clients I'm going to be gone this time. I'm taking a vacation. And I found that when I tell my clients ahead of time, they're like, oh yeah, like enjoy your break. They totally understand. Um, so just giving them that heads up beforehand that I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. But that was the challenge. Then I added on the third week. So I actually did work a little bit that third week just because I was like, well, I told my clients 2 weeks. I'm still traveling. I stayed on top of things, but I pretty much just told them, hey, I'm here for another week. So in the end, it's setting boundaries. And it comes down to you just have to set boundaries. And you have to know that other people are compassionate and empathetic too. And your clients are going to understand. Not if you like run off every other day and they never get a hold of you, but like if you're always around and then suddenly you're like, I'm going on a trip, they're understanding. We're still didn't have a support. At that time, I didn't like it was just me and my business. I've gone through different phases of my business and it was just my business. And I was like, you know what? This is my business. I want it to support the life I want to live. And that means I am going to take vacations and clients just need to, to understand that. And I'll do the best to accommodate them. So there's a lot of mindset work I've done around that to be okay with that, to be okay with taking a break and not worrying about everything. But it was also just being in the moment. It's like it was so good to just release work for 2 weeks. And then with a relationship, like if they want the best for me, they would want me to be happy and enjoy the time. And yeah, it's sort of disappointing to be gone another week from them, but at the same time, this is a once in a lifetime experience. So, and as you just said, to balance it out and just communicate too. So a lot of it comes down to communication as well.
Yeah. And most of the time the fear is worse than the reality, right? The worst case scenario in your mind is just not real. When you call your clients or you talk to your partner, they are more understanding what you're saying. Of course, no problem. The fear is more about the fear than when you take action, then the fear disappears and you see was not a big deal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fear is what could happen, but you're thinking the worst case scenario. And then sometimes, okay, what you feared came true. You're still alive. Like it doesn't, for the most part, for the things I was dealing with, like it wasn't going to kill me. Like I would find a solution. I'm like, okay, this is where I am now. What's the best solution? So it's just trusting in yourself. You trusting in your ability to problem solve these challenges. That's what fear is. If you trust yourself and if you have confidence, the fear just goes away. You know you can handle any situation no matter what comes up.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think, Alyssa, if you have to pick one day or one moment or one landscape, something of this trip, what this would be? Would you like to share with us?
Sure. So this is sort of another thing of as I've gone to trust my intuition more and focus more on manifesting. Before I went to Austria, I found a random photo online. It was really pretty, but I didn't know what it was. Nothing had context because I hadn't been there yet. I posted on Facebook and I'm like, this is where I'm going to. I'm going to Austria. So excited. I can't wait. Well, I think this year, so it was in 2019, I went to Europe. And this year it popped up in my Facebook feed and I looked at that. And it was Hallstatt, which is one of the trips that we made. It's like a widely renowned, widely photographed place. I had no idea when I found the picture. I looked at it. I went there. Like that, we got this picture and I went there. And so one, it was really cool that I manifested something I hadn't even realized. Like it was just a day trip that someone else had chosen to go there. I didn't even look it up. I didn't go there. And it was just gorgeous. Furnicula. So we rode up a furnicula up the side of the mountain and there was a salt mine. And so we did a salt mine tour, but up at the top there, we had lunch. And you're in the Alps looking over this lake and it's just unreal. I look at the photos. It makes me happy just looking at the photos, knowing I experienced it, knowing I lived there or I was there. And so I'd say going to Hallstatt, just that, all the magic of it coming together. It was a day that all of our family went on a trip, my grandma, cousins, aunts, uncles. And then we went to this like most photographed place that I never even knew about. My cousin's like, oh, we have to go take these photos at sunset. And I was like, okay, I'll follow along. I don't know what's going on. And that it just all fell into place. And that's what I find when I just trust and let it happen. Everything falls into place.
Amazing. Wow. Amazing.
It's magic.
I can only imagine all the things that you experienced and you saw. But after the 3 weeks, you were eventually 3 weeks. After the 3 weeks,
Mhm.
you say goodbye, you came back home. What happened after that? What changed for you?
So I actually had quite a few. I joke that I have quarter life crises every so often, and that's when a couple things started out. I I decided that I wasn't happy in my relationship, that it wasn't leading to the end result that I wanted. And so that led to our breakup, and for the better, like led to an amazing relationship that I'm in now. And I wouldn't have had that if I had taken action. It led to me really pursuing my business coaching because I was like, I've just experienced my dream trip. Like, this is my ultimate passion, travel. And I finally built my business to the point that I can travel. I am And so I was like, I want to teach other women to do this because I know what it's like to be a workaholic and never get to love yourself. And I want to give them this freedom. And it really made me realize that I need to make travel a priority. I actually have I write down my goals every single day. One of them is travel. And I say I want a 3 week vacation and one big vacation a year and 2 or 3 small ones and then weekend trips. So I actually write it down that I want to travel.
So you transform your life, you transform your business, and then
Yeah.
you had tangible steps, actions that you wanted to do so you will not go back to the old routine that
Yes. And so
was
that,
not the one that you wanted to live.
yeah, and it's easy. It's to get in a habit. And that's why, like, I now make habits that support my goals rather than habits that hold me back. So that's why I always write down, I'm going to travel. Like, these are the things I'm going to do to travel each year and make it a priority. Now I know what it's like to not travel, but it's to travel.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say, Alyssa, to women who are listening this and maybe hesitating about traveling or, buying to their own excuses and procrastinating and not making it happen for them?
There's always going to be excuses or reasons not to. And it comes down to, what is your passion? What is your dream? And it can be, as we talked about, it's easy to forget that day to day. So pick something that excites you. Pick out, like, do like I do. I also use Scott's Cheap Travel or something, and I just track places that are going on sale or track it on Google Flights and find something that excites you, just like, or talk to a travel agent or talk to a travel coach and say, this is my goal. I want to go there, and just make it a priority. Just pick one page, just pick one thing and make that your goal, your passion, something that excites you. And it's it you just have to make it a priority. It is so easy. That's one of the biggest challenges I find with entrepreneurs is, you know what you should do, but it's still easy to get caught in the day to day and the fear. Oh, I don't have time, I don't have money, my clients, I can't do my clients. And when you really want something, you can find a way and make a way. And that's sometimes where you need outside support, or you can't just up and leave, but setting up systems or setting up something to do that. So first, just pick one dream place you've always wanted to go. Like a state over, or it's a short flight away, whether it's another country, and whether it's 1 year or 2 years from now, but pick something that's going to excite you and just make it happen. And then see, like, then you can decide, oh, that wasn't worth it. I really don't love it that much. It wasn't. But then pick a different passion and really focus on your passions and bring that into your life. And don't just let work take over your life.
Yeah, beautiful said.
Oh.
Beautiful said. Alyssa, I know that in your work you were talking about the intuition, how you were connecting with your intuition and how powerful is your intuition. Could you share with us some tips or ways that people can connect with their intuition while they are traveling?
Yes. And it depends. There's different levels. So first off is knowing how your intuition speaks to you. Some people hear, some people see, some people feel. I just get a knowing when it's sort of a gut feeling. So your intuition is in your gut, it's the second chakra, and I just get a yes or a no. And you can actually do muscle testing on this too, is another fun way that I've learned in theta healing, where if you're well hydrated and you face north and shut your eyes, you can ask yes, no questions. And so yes, you'll lean forward, and no, you'll lean backwards. And if you're not getting that, there's a couple things, but that's a simple way to do it. So I say, play games with your intuition. Like, should I go for a walk now? Yes, no. Should I do this? Should I eat this food? Should I, like, just get used to asking your intuition questions so that when you're traveling, you can be like, should I go left or right? Should I go to the palace? Should I go to this? And you can be like, oh, this feels good. This feels light. And you can trust that. And it's really about being connected to your body and getting out of your mind. And it's very easy when you got a lot of things going on that you're stuck in your mind. And that's stress, that then you're in fight or flight mode, and your brain actually cannot fully function. When you're in fight or flight mode, you can't make decisions. You can't create, you aren't creative. You can't connect with other people. Your body is just trying to survive. Your brain is trying to survive. And so some simple trips are breathing. Just stop and breathe. Take a 5-minute break. Go out into nature. Go for a walk. And just get back into your body and just feel. Name your emotion too. When you're stressed out, just notice. I'm feeling discouraged. I'm feeling stressed. I'm feeling angry. And just name that. And then thank the emotion for what it's telling you and just release it. And really, and some of these sound easy and they take time. They're simple, but they can take time, and it's a process. But just breathe. Just, if you had one thing to do, just stop and breathe and focus on slow, deep breaths for a minute and just get back to your body.
Very powerful. Thanks for that, Alyssa. Oh my God, I could just been talking about this for ages, but we need to start wrapping up. But I will not let you go before you share with us the place where you are from, the region, the country. What's the hidden gem that you would like to share with us?
Well, Oregon, I moved from California to Oregon four-ish years ago now. And what I love about Oregon is that, one, it reminds me of New Zealand. It's so green, there's ferns, there's lush, and there's just so many, I think it's the waterfalls. It's the lakes and the waterfalls. I love going up. So I live in Eugene, so I go up the Mackenzie, and just up the Mackenzie towards Bend. There's a couple hikes. There's Sahaley Falls, there's Blue Pool, there's Clear Lake. And Clear Lake is like this prehistoric forest. The water is so cold that the trees are still there under the water. You can see them, and they're prehistoric wood, but the water is just so cold that it's preserved it. So just journeying up into nature, going Sahaley Falls is beautiful. And just, if anyone wants to go to Eugene, connect with me and I can tell you all the cool places in Oregon to go. I'm still learning them, but I've got some favorites.
Good. We write this down. I will check it out definitely online to see how it looks like. Thank you very much, Alyssa. I would like, if you can share how people can connect with you in case somebody wants to contact you. What's the best way to do so?
Definitely. You can see me here on Instagram. I'm liveyourlife_adventure. And so I'm always available on here to chat. And then my website is alyssawilliamson.com. And I actually have a free guide that I offer, and it's how to make more money, work less, and live your life of adventure. And so you can download that and work through that as some basics to get started on living your dream and getting more, whether it's travel or whether it's just freedom or flexibility, getting that back into your life.
Wow, thank you. That's so useful. It sounds like a dream come true. So also we'll check this out. Thank you, Alyssa, very much for being here today. I really appreciate your insights and your time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Sonia. It's so great to talk to you, and travel I could talk about all the time. So this is really fun.
Yeah, thank you very much. And everybody tuning in, also happy and safe travels. Bye, Alyssa. Take care. Have a good one.
Okay.
Bye.